Can you hear me? Yes. So welcome to the open market consultation session of PCP-WISE. I'm Ana Lucia Jaramillo. I'm part of the legal team of Corvus Procurement Services, supporting organization in the PCP-WISE consortium. And we go to our session of today. I will start, I think, can I click on the slide? How do I, oh yeah. Yes, sorry, I went too fast. So what is PCP-WISE? PCP-WISE is a forward-looking European project that is developing smart and sustainable solutions to improve the water management and climate resilience by monitoring the soil water vegetation system to improve the water management and climate resilience. So we try to use space technologies and environmental data in order to have a better way of tackling some major challenges that are related to flood, to wildfire, to infrastructure risks, both in the rural and the urban areas. So PCP-WISE is using the instrument of pre-commercial procurement. That is a process of acquiring, of buying research and development services. And through these public buyers, innovators, researchers are looking forward to make Europe better prepared for and to respond better to climate change. In this procedure, we want to let you know that it's building up on the results and the outcomes of the Protect Coordination Support Action. That was another European project. And we have in this PCP-WISE consortium 12 public buyers from 8 different member states. We have Headwaterschapshouse from the Netherlands, STOA from the Netherlands, the city of Rotterdam, the city of Haarlem. We have a Climatorium from Denmark, also the Ministry of Interior of the Republic of Slovakia. We have the Slovak Environmental Agency, Benego Green Park from Belgium, the Federal Agency for Technical Relief from Germany, Forum Virium from Finland, Helsinki Forum Virium, and I'm also missing any of the public buyers, but the public, I mentioned Climatorium. Yeah. And also, yes, from Spain, the Institute of Cartography from Catalonia. So some of the members, some of the public buyers are present in the room. You can look at us. We're using this green liner with the badge, so you can come later on. But this project is, the lead procurer of this project is Headwaterschapshouse. This is a public organization that is supporting the 21 water boards, water authorities in the Netherlands towards the digital transition. The coordinator is Barrabés from Spain. The project has a duration of 36 months and a budget allocated specifically for the PCP for the suppliers of 12 million. Let's see, we have an agenda that is interesting today. We'll start with Hans from STOA. STOA is the knowledge and research hub for the regional water authorities in the Netherlands, and he will present the challenge of PCP, the 5 use cases that we need to tackle, and more information that will help all those interested in the PCP process to participate with a proposal. I will also introduce you to some guidelines on the OMC. So what are the objectives of the OMC, the activities, and how we can engage with you to provide more information and to gather information from the market operators. I have Melissa Campaño here. She is from GAC, coordinating all the communication and dissemination activities of PCP-WISE, and she will present the community platform and how to participate in the matchmaking activities. We'll have some time also for questions. I have the Slido, we can use the Slido, and after the closure of the session, you can also have some possibility to interact with the partners that are here present, so we encourage you to do that. Okay, so we move to our first presenter, and we go invite Hans van Leeuwen from STOA to present the PCP-WISE project.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, thank you very much, Ana Lucia. So my name is Hans van Leeuwen. I'm working for the Dutch water authorities. We have 21. It's like a little Europe in the Netherlands with all different cultures like we have in the member states, but also different behavior in terms of water management, and that's very important. I'm representing also the users and the buyers in the team. And what we want to find out is how can we be more resilient to our climate problems. We heard many examples in the previous session on the extremes. What we want to be, we don't want to be fighting during the extreme events. We want to be prepared and anticipate. We want to build up intelligence of the soil, water, vegetation, atmosphere conditions before it gets extreme, before it gets too dry or too wet. And that's important because mostly that is regular management. That requires also different type of functionalities of your information. And I come back to that later. And most of the hazards we endure in Europe, which is climate induced, are water related. So it's very important to focus on that. And we heard that also in the previous session. So this is the PCP-WISE program, is also to support the local actions. So we want to find out how can we equip and instrumentalize the local managers in the cities, the natures, but also in the agriculture environment. Next one. Oh, wait, you have to do it. Okay, and so we have here a map of Europe. On the left-hand side, the anomaly of the different extremes in precipitation of, from 2024 compared to the past 30 years. And you can see quite different distribution with too dry and too wet conditions. And the point is, it's not a rule of law. It's very dynamic. It's not predictable anymore. So we need to think and to live on the short term, but be smart in preparation to those events. And the other right-hand side, you can see the temperature changes, which is mostly related also to the water balance. When we evaporate in our system, it gets cooler. So the more water we have, the cooler it can become, also in cities, to prevent heat islands, for example. So we have examples of different use cases later on, how we can fight and anticipate to those different extreme in temperatures as a result of evapotranspiration, for example. Next one. No, I didn't do it myself. And so we are focusing on local level. That's very important. Most of the already available information in Europe is from Copernicus, for example, and also from ECWMF and WMO. It's very important as boundary conditions on the general terms and the general trends which are going on, but we need to have local insights as well for the local manager. And that's important, and that's why we also have 12 buyers on board representing user communities who are going to differentiate those needs on local level to fight, for example, flooding and wildfires and to anticipate to that. So we hope to complement to the existing services and also to support the local measure taking by the local measurements. So in the crisis management scheme, and the red arrow, that's mostly the things we trigger us when there is an event. We have wildfires, like for example, in many countries we have enduring droughts, and that helps us not to fight it. We need to anticipate on it, and so that's the reason why we have in this blue circle all the information which is pre-disaster is very important to anticipate, but also post-disaster. So you can use the same information and trends also in assessing what is happening after that. But during the crisis, you need to have indicators. What are the risk indicators? Where are the spatial maps of too dry or too wet areas? And that's also important. And this also becomes an insight we have to build pre-disaster before the events. So before this project, we had a Protect project, which was very challenge-based, and that's also directly linked to our problems. We have an overarching connection between all those challenges and the soil water vegetation system, and that's why we're focusing on that approach. So for the PCP-WISE portfolio, we're going to ask the market and consortia to be multidisciplinary, but also especially to focus on the regular, daily, integrated soil, moisture, water, vegetation conditions in general, and also on the risk indicators to anticipate on the risks. And that's sector related, so agriculture has different limits of too dry and too wet than nature or cities. So it's important to understand what are the different limitations of your water system in the soils and what are the related risk indicators. And the second one, and that's the long-term way of looking at not only nowcasting, but also looking back in order to have better forecasting scenarios. So we want to have at least 2 decades looking back and also looking forward to see the long-term trends. And on top of that, and we already have examples from Valorada, for example, we have also for specific problems in our use cases, room for solving problems with heat islands, subsidence, and also extreme situations. So what we know that we have urban and rural use cases, we also see that the soil water system is different for each conditions. So for example, if you have a lot of stoniness in your cities, you will have also different evapotranspiration, you can imagine, and also different infiltration of the rain in your subsoil system. So it's important to understand, and remote sensing can help us perfectly with that, to assess the different parameters which affect the infiltration, evapotranspiration, so the plus and the minus of your soil water system. And in rural areas, you can better model that with hydrological modeling, climate modeling, but in the cities it's much too human affected, so it's very important to do that just with only a model. You need also data science and artificial intelligence to solve those equations. So it's important to understand that those differences need to be solved, and we are asking the market and challenge the market to make multidisciplinary consortia to solve this. So we have a lot of different single solutions. We need integrated solutions in urban and rural area. So now we have some examples from the 5 use cases. So in Northern Europe, even although it's very wet sometimes, it can be also having long enduring droughts as well. And that causes subsidence from peat and also clay compaction. You get subsidence, city infrastructure is demolished, streets are demolished, connection with drainage, but also water and electricity infrastructure is broken down from the house and the streets levels. So there are serious consequences as a result of subsidence caused by droughts. But also the urban heat islands, what I just mentioned, that's very important. If there is not enough green, if there is not enough open water, if there is not a possibility to evapotranspirate from vegetation, then you will get also local heat islands. So we have to be prepared for that. We have to take measures to prevent, also in the case of flooding, also in northeastern Europe, like in Finland, for example. If you have too much street, stoniness, no infiltration possibilities, then you need to find out how can we improve that. Take away those stones, take the right measures to make it better. But you need information to assess this, spatial information, also in time. The third use case is focused in Slovakia, in the Donau region, the Donau watershed. And what we find out is that also there you have in the land climate, is another climate zone, then in North Europe you have very much differences in drought and wet situations. So the water distribution is a big problem. Even in Northeast Europe, in the Kalmhoutse Heide in Belgium and also in the Netherlands, we have the same problem. You don't have the right water distribution and also to take the right measures spatially to prevent drought. And in Catalonia, for example, is the fourth case. Then you have also not only seasonal droughts, but you also have long-enduring structural droughts over the years. That affects agriculture, but also biodiversity loss, for example. So it's important to maintain your production systems in agriculture and also in nature, and try to see what type of long-term measures we should take. So think in decades, not only seasonal, and that's another aspect in our project, the timescale. So we had a process of funneling all the different needs of our 12 buyers, and those are representing user communities. And with 25 use cases, we focus now on 5 groups, and those 5 groups are focused on urban and rural problems, as well in the regular, this is the regular maintenance, but also in the crisis and also in the long-term climate situation. And the functional requirements, those address what kind of day-to-day, but also crisis and long-term measures we have to take with the information from WISE to prevent those extremes in urban and rural regions. So we make an infographic. It's more from the buyer side. So we have now in June, we have, and also in July, we have a visit to all the 5 user groups and sites, and we have connection with the user communities to define the technical specification for our tender documents, which are going to be produced, and this will be told later, in September, and issued in September. So it's important that we finalize and also refine those technical requirements based on the user demands from those different use cases and problems we face in Europe. Just to show you who is involved in those 5 groups, I just mentioned the 5 examples, and I'm not going to deepen that out, but here you can see it more in spatial sense. So the red areas are the lead group members and lead test sites where we have our 5 groups. And we are going to demonstrate also in the 3rd phase, once the integrated solutions are developed, we are going to demonstrate also other partner sites in Macedonia, for example, but also in Germany and in the Netherlands and Belgium. Important is to understand that the information is not fixed. So you have regular, you have crisis, you have climate, you have different time scales, but mostly you have the same people in your organization, your buyer organization. So they have to adapt to the situation, if it's regular or crisis or long term. And they also need to use the information from WISE, but also from Valorada and other systems, in the right context of their working procedures. So they have to adapt their working and traditional way of information digestion by inserting it in a hybrid fashion, using this new information. And those user acceptation processes, we call it sense making, that is what we are now conducting in the coming months, but also will keep on doing during the whole project. And that helps us to understand what the real information requirements are in a bit more technical sense. Also hydrology sense and the soil, but also remote sensing value adding linked to that. So important is to find out what are the user requirements and how are we going to let them to operational instruments for local insights, local addressing those issues from climate. And what we want to find out is how can we make it generic and how can we scale up in the end after 3 years so towards a pan-European soil water conditions message. Like we have the weather message, we want to strive towards, it sounds very ambitious, a little bit megalomaniac, but we think we need a soil water message every day. And that's what we are going to work through. We also want to scale up together with the market. So we want to build a business model together, also with the buyer community. So we are extending the buyers, not only the lead buyers we have in the site consortium, but we want to have a buyer community. We already have about 140 potential candidates, but we are still developing network on the buyer part so that we can invest together with also investors, but also with the buyers in a business model to scale up. And that's after 3 years. But still, what we want to do is first demonstrate it, that it works, and that it can help you in anticipating those problems. And we look at 2 scales. The test scales, so this for validation of the services from the market, but also on the rural sub-watershed scale, so which is a hydrological logic area, which can be also used as a context of your local problems, and also a link to the Copernicus service, like the EFAS and the list flood modeling, which is already in place, but then scaled down to the local management. So spatial and temporal scales are the dimensions we have to think of, and this is exactly what we are now defining. For urban area, you need more detailed information, and for the areas surrounding it in the watershed, it's about 100 by 100 meter, which is a logical management scale. We also use it in the Netherlands, for example, in our water authorities. So we also have technical partners. We have the UT20 who are having benchmark sites already in Europe for the past 5 years. They have built a twinning model. It's called the STEMIS scope model, which models how the soil water vegetation system behaves with interaction with the atmosphere and climate. Those are physical models, but we are looking how can we make it more empirical and also have it tested with local conditions, and therefore they have 63 points on the right-hand side related to our regions of our test sites. And this is also a very important part for scaling up in the end. Important also is that once we have the solution, we need to be interoperable. So as we have in the Netherlands 21 watersheds, water authorities, they are different cultures. They have their own management procedures, they have their own working environment. But looking over the border to each other, that's even in the Netherlands, in a small country, a big problem. So we need to understand how can we exchange the information in a standardized but also interoperable way. And that's why it's so important that in those consortia who are going to provide solutions, that we have hydrological but also civil engineering partners on board to understand what's happening in the local situation of our managers. And also to be interoperable. So we need to speak the same water taxonomy, the same language on hydrology. And therefore we introduce also different instruments which are not mandatory, but are advised to use for having the same language. And we use, in this case, for example, the ModFlow model. Each hydrologist knows what ModFlow is, but for you it's maybe a bit abracadabra. But it's in fact an industrial standard in hydrology, and it's a good basis to exchange your information, not only between you as managers, but also between the solution providers from the market and also our validation team. So we think that it would be advisable to use that, and also to make it interoperable for each other, and also to link up to other disciplines. And also there is a presentation tool on board to make it more tangible in spatial but also in temporal sense to the local users, and exchange your information with each other. So it's a common global open source and very practical operational instrument. It's only a part of your integral solution. Use it not as the solution, but as an interaction to others. So it's the end of the value chain. And it can be useful also for yourself to understand and see also what the different solutions are and to compare them with each other. So it's also an interesting evaluation tool. We have a help desk on board, so if there are questions, we can answer them. So for all 5 groups, for all the users, we need solutions. So consortia need to be prepared to solve all the 5 solutions. So it looks like a lot of work, but it is, in fact, if you have 90% of the regular monitoring in place and adapted for the local conditions, then it can be scalable. So that is also an investment for yourself as a consortium for the future, also for the business case we are to build together. So quality, standardization, interoperability, those are the buzzwords, but that's something we have to work on to make it pan-European, interoperable, and also applicable, and also market-wise very interesting for commercial applications. So that's why you need different type of partners. You need a general contractor, a solution architect who can make the integration. You need a civil engineer or maybe more a hydrologist for urban areas, but also rural areas to understand how the soil water system works. You need specific remote sensing value adders, so that's not the main type of partners. In this context of EXPANDEO, remote sensing is a buzzword. For us, it's part of the integral solution, so it needs to have the right place. It would be nice if you have up-to-date knowledge from research entities on board, so you can invite an institute or a partner from research and an investor. Would be very good to have already your business model in place. And then I end with repeating what we want to ask you as a market. We want to have the regular monitoring, the risk indicators per sector, and the long-term climate insights from hindsight towards scenario forecasting. And on top of that, some specific remote sensing related issues you can solve, like the subsidence and heat islands. That will be part of the rest of the solution. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, you did a great job, Hans. Thank you. Great. I'm sure you will have some questions later on. Let's go now to the OMC, the Open Market Consultation Guidelines. I mentioned that we're using the Innovation Procurement Instrument, specifically pre-commercial procurement for the research and development of services in phases. So the solution design, prototype development, and testing and validation of solutions. We are now in phase 0, so the preparatory phase where we need the support also from the market to understand better the readiness and the maturity of the solutions. And further up is the follow-up public procurement of innovative solutions, so the deployment of the actual solution. The PCP approach is the procurement of R&D services and is a competitive procedure. There's a risk-benefit sharing conditions under market conditions. That means that also the contractors keep the intellectual property rights to exploit them after the project. And there's a clear separation from the R&D services up to TRL 8 and the follow-up public procurement of innovative solutions. The PCP legal framework, the legal basis, it's as follows. PCP is falling outside the scope of the Public Procurement Directive. It's a more flexible procurement. It's one of the exceptions precisely because the contracting authorities are not buying the IPRs as such, but the principles of the Treaty on the Function of the European Union apply, the transparency, equal treatment, non-discrimination, and the approach of the PCP is based on the communication of 2007 of the Commission. If we look at the PCP-WISE process, you see here we're at the preparatory phase that started from the beginning of the year until August, and we will launch the tender at the beginning of September, aiming to receive the proposals and evaluate the proposals up to February of 2026, so that the implementation of the PCP would start at the beginning of March 2026, ending up to December 2027. After that would follow the PPI. So now we're here in the preparatory phase, looking forward to the open market consultation. So what have we done in these months, in these 6 months? We have work on defining the use cases, narrowing down the scope of these use cases. Hans explained how he funneled all the requirements from the public buyers. State-of-the-art analysis have been conducted, also looking into standards, and now we're at the moment of the open market consultation. What are the objectives of the open market consultation? To inform the market about the plans, the procurement plans of the public buyers, the needs, the result of the state-of-the-art analysis that we want that you challenge those results, validate the results that we have obtained. We want to know if there are existing technologies that could be useful to tackle the use cases, and also get you to know what are the IPR provisions and setup in the tender of the PCP. So making the industry aware of this opportunity, and also having for them enough time to prepare, to come together, to make some synergies for the preparation of the proposals. So the PCP-WISE OMC is a voluntary process. We're looking for the feedback on the market. Hans has already mentioned the skills, the expertise that is needed to be combined, so to build up the consortia for the proposals, the tender phase. And it's interesting for you to know the eligibility for the tender. In the open market consultation, all the feedback is welcome for the tender. This is the tender open in equal terms to all types of operators established and controlled in EU member states and Horizon Europe associated countries. That means that companies based established in the Europe or associated countries that have subsidiaries from other companies in third countries can participate, and companies of third countries can participate but as subcontractors, not as main contractors. All this information is available in the open market consultation document, so I encourage you to come into the PCP-WISE website, download the open market consultation document, where you will find the rules, the information about the public buyers, about the open market consultation activities, but mainly about the challenges, the use cases, and the requirements that the buyers have defined. There are other important information available for you through the website, through the Amica Studio platform, where you can make some questions. The links are provided here, and we will provide also the links through the chat and the Slido. There's a protocol in order to carry out bilateral meetings with those market operators, technology providers who are willing to get in touch with the public buyers. And in order to have these bilateral meetings, they are required to fill in the request for information. This is a questionnaire that is available online through the EU survey tool, so that all the interested parties can provide information and ask any questions as well, or make recommendations, suggestions based on the open market consultation document. So I encourage you to look into this information and contact us. We have already implemented activities within the scope of the open market consultation through webinars, so also gathering questions and answers that will be published later on. So as you can see, there are some events that have taken already place, and there is the recording available of those webinars on the website of the PCP-WISE. And now we're here at the EXPANDEO event. After this event, we will have other activities related specifically to the deadlines on the open market consultation request for information that you need to fill in. This is for the 15th of, we have some, yeah, it's here for the 15th of June, the deadline for submission of questions. It might be that we have some extension of this as requested by different suppliers. But at the end of the open market consultation, and this is important for you to know, an OMC report will be published. This OMC report is going to gather the conclusions of the open market consultation. It will be an anonymized report that summarizes the different results, and that will be also included later on in the tender documentation. So your feedback, the feedback from the market operators, technology providers, is relevant to fine-tune the tender documents. So looking into the forthcoming tender, this is the initial setup that is already prepared for the budget allocation and the duration of the PCP phases. You see here that there's a maximum budget per contractor per phase and a total budget. These are like the top caps, the ceilings. You see that for phase 1, we have foreseen 5 contractors. That could be 5 consortia. The duration is 4 months. For phase 2, we would have 3, and with a duration of 11 months. And phase 3, 2 contractors for 2 alternative solutions that need to be compared to get the best value of these solutions. And this is foreseen for 6 months, with a maximum total budget that is almost the 12 million euros. Also very important to know is the provisions regarding the IPR, the intellectual property right requirements. As mentioned before, the contractors will keep the IPRs that they develop during the PCP, but we will also ensure through the tender provisions and obligations that these IPRs are protected and are exploited. If they are not exploited or commercialized through solutions, the public buyers reserve the right of call off of these IPRs, also in case of a transfer or in case of different possibilities of transferring IPRs. The contractors need to notify or to inform the public buyers group, also to safeguard the security interest and that these IPRs are not transferred to companies or to organizations in third countries that have restrictions. What is also important regarding APRs is that the public buyers will receive licenses, like royalty-free, non-exclusive licenses for indefinite time to use the results of the PCP, and that also means the background IPRs. And they will be required also that third parties could also access to intellectual property rights based on FRAN terms, so fair and reasonable terms of IPRs. So Because of time, I think we can close this part, and I will welcome Melissa Campaño from JSC to tell us about the community.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can I have the clicker? Thank you. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to EARSC for having us a second time during EXPANDEO. It's also very nice to see familiar faces in the room, because we were here last year already with Hans and Ana Lucia to announce the upcoming work of PCP-WISE. And so we are very pleased today to be able to present you what we've been doing over the past 6 months, how the process works. Anna explained it quite extensively, what you are facing in terms of IPR, in terms of budget, what kind of expertise we need in this consortium. So it's a lot of information to process. But for now, and it's a lot of dates and links that you've heard about, but don't worry, first of all, the slides will be shared with you after the meeting, so you will get all this information handy afterwards. And what's important, at least for my presentation, because we're running a bit out of time and we don't want to delay the closing of the day today, but my key message is really to explain to you and to give you a sense of urgency of why it's important that you get involved with this project right now. Why now is the right moment to really get in touch with us. And that is important whether you are a supplier, obviously, because we've been talking about the upcoming call for tenders and the different type of expertise, competencies that we need to see in this consortium in order to be successful. But also it's important that if you are a public authority, a municipality, an environmental or water agency, that you're interested in following the developments of PCP-WISE, you can reach out to us and you can take a step in the project already now. We have several ways, several offers to propose to you, so feel free to really reach out. It's really important. So why engaging in PCP-WISE now? I've been already saying it. As a supplier, obviously, right now is the right moment because we are still in the preparatory phase. You still have a chance to have your say. Your main reference document for now is the open market consultation document that all the public buyers have been working very, very hard on. Hans has been really doing a great work in funneling all the requirements, all the needs from the 12 public buyers, and you can already read about these in the open market consultation document. Whatever Anna has explained also in terms of the process, in terms of the budget, it's already there. What we need from you now by the 15th and maybe a bit later, we will see if we extend or not, we need to have your feedback. So we really need you to go and take the lead on going and checking whether what Hans has been explaining, what Anna has been explaining speaks to you, and if you are in a position to challenge what we are saying and tell us, listen, this is not feasible for us. We would like to come up with a different approach. Maybe you could see things from a different angle. So that's what we really need to hear from you, and you can do so in many ways. Of course, there's the e-procurement platform where you can download this open market consultation, where you can ask questions, like if you would be asking any question on funding and tenders or portal or on TED. But we have other ways which are more direct, which are more friendly and collaborative ways to do so. And that's what I would like to briefly present you today. But again, we will be staying after Emmanuel closes the day. We will be in the room with all the partners from PCP-WISE to answer any questions, whether you have technical questions for Hans or legal procedural questions to Anna or engagement approaches. I can answer your question as well. And we have, of course, the other partners in the room. So this is an opportunity for you to boost your visibility as a company to us, but also to the wider European market, because we want to engage already now with potential replicators, potential friends that can help us scale the solution, not just to the 12 buyers, but to other regions, other cities that could be interested and face the same challenges that the public PCP-WISE buyers are facing. So this is important for you to be visible to us, but also to others, and of course to find the right partners. So we are looking at suppliers, as I've been saying, replicators, which can be any other regional, local level, national authority, but also water authorities, environmental agencies, and private, of course, buyers could be also interested to take part. A follower organization is a support organization that are really helping us in getting visibility. That's Emmanuel, that's all the team from EARSC, that's Nereus, the network of region, of course, that we've heard earlier. That's any other projects such as Valorada, such as Oceanides, who are working on similar challenges that we have, and who are already working with a pool of companies who could be interested in the PCP-WISE call for tender. So we have a community platform. I know that the platform exists in all places, so it's just noise to your ears to hear that there's another new platform coming up, but really in the context of this project, it's a co-creation process almost between the buyers and the suppliers that may be in the room today. And this is your showcase page. This is your gateway to reach out to any of the partners in the project. We already have 175 members, but we want to have more. So you can stay in the loop by reaching and signing up to this platform. You can get updates if you need to hear more and learn more about innovation procurement, material, resources. We have this already from the previous project Protect, which was the CSA predecessor project that we've been working on. We have lots of resources for you to shed light on any questions or any information that you need to have. Of course, this is the best also place for you to connect with the buyers from PCP-WISE, the support organization, Anna, myself, to answer questions, but it's also the best place for you to showcase your strengths, your expertise, competencies, and to connect with other buyers to form the consortia that Hans is so willing to see in September. So really, we have, I'm not going to explain in so many details how to create a profile. I believe in this room, everybody is capable of doing that. But basically, you have two functionalities important to bear in mind. The first one is that you can start a discussion through the platform as soon as you are becoming a member. So you can really just, it's like Facebook or LinkedIn, you can really speak to anyone on the platform. And you can also schedule a meeting by sending an invitation to someone to have a much longer discussion and, of course, something online. So yeah, interacting on the community, not forgetting though that we are in the context of public procurement, as Anna explained, and that we have rules. We have rules to respect transparency, equality, non-discrimination. So we have set up a protocol to clarify how these interactions should take place in order to ensure that there is no supplier with more information than another, and everything is always, in any case, reported and listed on our website, where you have already an FAQ available. So the most common question that you may have already answered on the platform, and we are updating this FAQ constantly. So that's also a very important resource to take on and to have in mind. So yeah, of course, suppliers right now is our main target audience, but as I said, we're also calling, it's a call to action also to replicators and followers. So again, regions, cities, environmental agencies, water agencies can act as potential replicators of the solution that will be developed as part of this pre-commercial procurement in the future. And you can follow the development more closely right now. So creation of the profile, you can come to me afterwards. I will be pleased to help you sign up on the platform and guide you through that and show you how to navigate it. The most important information to remember here, if you are a supplier and you intend to register on the community platform, please be very exhaustive in creating your profile, in completing your profile. The more information that you are providing, the greater chances you have to be visible to the other suppliers and for them to understand what kind of complementarity skills they can have with you. So get connected, get visible, and of course, get ready. All the links, important links, are summarized on this slide. The dates as well, we will be, whenever EARSC is sending you the slide, we will make sure that if there's any change of deadlines, we will reflect that on the slides as well. But yeah, your input is really, really expected from us. And this is your chance really to influence the challenge that we are trying to take on with PCP-WISE and to have your say on the future call for tenders.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Okay. And I think we are on time. We are just at 4 o'clock. Well, I would just like to encourage you again to look into the documentation, make questions, fill in the request for information. So that's the main thing, look into the platform. And now I would like to just open the floor for questions, and also through the Slido that we have prepared some information. So please, yes, I have a question here already.
First of all, thank you for introducing this. This was an eye-opener. I think this is one of the examples of what you can do addressing very, very complex problems with a holistic view and the right team. Now, that being said, my request would be, before I ask my question, if you really can extend the deadline for the RFI, I believe I'm not the only one in this room who's heard about this for the very first time. And this only leaves us 2 days, and we're traveling back on the weekend. So I guess that would be much appreciated. Now, my question is, you were talking about municipalities and water management authorities. Now, that's one thing. If you want to have the buyers on the municipal side, I would agree that there's a lot of very considerate people in city management, for instance. But if you go into the municipal departments, at the top of those departments, you usually have political figureheads. My personal experience with dealing with municipalities is that these only have a very narrow view which covers the time to the next election. And that's about it. So they watch their budget for the next election. If you want to tell them, okay, if you invest into what we are doing here, you're saving millions and millions on recovery and whatever. My experience is pretty often these political figureheads don't care. They have no sympathy, and they even go against their own urban management to just push it down. So how do you want to deal with this?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you. So mostly the middle management, those are the most resistant middle policy makers. They have the budget, they have the yearly budget cycle. So that's why we have early adopters on board. So we have 11 buyers who already have been dealing with this issue. They have already the vision to do this. They are the example to their colleague buyers. That's an important one. But that's not solving the problem, because you always have traditional and conservative organizations who are not want to innovate or change. And that's why it's so important that you link up to the crisis situations. Once there is a crisis, they act. To anticipate in the cold phase, there is no money for it. So, and we have more repetitive crises every day, mostly. In Europe, you see there's examples coming by in the news. So I think the best way to advocate this type of information inside your organization is to show the problems every day occurring in Europe. Either Valencia or Germany or the Po Valley or whatever the drought, you have to show them. And then, like Veneto was expressed, the subsidence, it's happening in every delta in Europe. So let's bring it out. And that's why we want to have this communication strategy as well, to advocate that there are solutions, not to solve it, but to anticipate on it and to try to reduce the impact of those issues. Yeah.
Thank you for the question, and thank you, Hans. We have more questions to the Slido. I see a question about, as an experienced Geo AI space company based in Germany, could you still participate on the project to provide our added value? You can look forward to perhaps presenting a proposal in September when the tender is launched. There's another question we just heard, concern about who will pay for the services. The R&D services will be paid through the pre-commercial procurement tender, so the contractors in the PCP will be paid through this funding of 12 million euros under the umbrella of the Horizon Europe project. Another question is, does the PCP-OMC phase enter into the competitive dialogue? Okay, so now we have the open market consultation. This will finish with end up, and a report will be published after that. there will be the launching of the tender. And the tender will be an open procedure with a pre-commercial procurement approach in phases. So that is, it's also described in the open market consultation document. Do we have another, another question from the audience or through the Slido? I think
the last question came up. So would it be more valuable for proposals to come from inter-European consortiums, so companies from different countries?
Yes, this is something that Hans has been underlying, the importance of bringing together skills and expertise also to tackle the challenge across Europe.
Yeah, to add on that, it's also important we have 5 different regions, so it would be very good if in those regions, in the member states, at least the native speaking partner, one of the consortium, one partner is also present there, because it helps to interact with the users as well in the same language. That's very important.
Yeah, there's more questions. I think, Hans, for you, what are the relative importances of satellite mapping and model forecasting? Moved?
In the proposal selection.
In the proposal selection.
Yeah, what I already said, it's part of the integration. Maybe for the 90% solution, the regular monitoring, it's part of the integrated solution. So maybe that's about, well, I cannot expect maybe 30% or 20 or 30%. So it's not the main issue. The main issue is the hydrology. But the point is, you need to combine it. So, and for the 10%, we have specific remote sensing applications which are suitably only to be solved with remote sensing, like subsidence and millimeters of subsidence in city areas. It's a proven technology, but still you have to link up to the local manager. So I think the added value lies in how make it functional, how to translate it to the user environment. So I think, remote sensing is important, but not the important part of the solution.
There is one question there.
Hi, I'll be quick. I'm a civil engineer. I specialize in hydrology, and I'm an expert in flood modeling and flood management in urban areas. So I think I'm very good for this. So I have one question. Maybe I will discuss with you, Hans, later about more technical issues. But before, there have been mentioned these political issues that we have for this solution. But I see another issues or constraints, like there are different buyers here that from different locations where hydrology is different, topography is different, climate is different. But my question is, like, this solution that the PCP-WISE is targeting has to be like a unique solution, or it could be a basic solution that have different modules that can adapt to each buyer?
Yeah, so the 90% solution, that will be, thank you for your question. It's a good question because every problem has its own unique tailor solution to be solved. So each problem needs to be addressed. So what we want to do is we don't want to deliver systems here. We want to have information from systems, from the own creativity of the market. So it doesn't matter how you're producing the information, but it should be a standard. And that's a sort of half product. And that should be ingested into the existing flood modeling services or runoff or discharge modeling or all kind of existing, like EFAS, for example, that's an existing, very well developed issue and a service. So we need to link up to that. Like the weather information is also ingested in other process models. It's also the soil water component, which can be ingested in other problems. So the tailorness is not in the half product. It's on how to reach out to existing solutions inside problem domains. So it's like a stekker and stopcontact, how you say it? Stekker and stopcontact, how you say it? Just a plug. You have to plug in somewhere. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Hans. There are more questions in the audience and also questions in the Slido. So, yes, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Graham Turnock from EARSC. We're an association of space agencies. I asked the question about the buyers because, first of all, I just want to know who are these 11 buyers. I had a look on your website. I couldn't see it immediately. I mean, are they water companies? Are they infrastructure managers, et cetera, et cetera? And then, are they willing to pay? I was sort of more interested in whether you got a feeling of whether they were prepared to pay for an ongoing service. I know that's a bit of a chicken and an egg question because you need to see what the products are. But for example, are they losing money at the moment? is there potential for more efficiency in the way in which they spend money? I mean, have you sort of got to the bottom of whether they're going to be able to spend to save, for example? Because people are more often willing to spend to save than they are willing to spend to get something that they don't currently have. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to answer that, Hans, from the public buyer?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, we have the same issue in the Netherlands, where we also build business models with not the buyer, because we are the buyer for our user community. So you have to ask those questions to the users. Are they prepared to invest new information, new costs on top of the traditional workaround? And I must say it's a slow process of acceptation. It's not a winning case at front. So you need to use the existing successes where already benefit has been shown and efficiency has been shown, impact of damage has been reduced and exhibited as well. So there are not that much examples already to do this. So we are trying to figure out in the market where are the examples, and we have some in the Netherlands, but somewhere in Europe. We also challenge you, if you have examples, bring it to us so that we can also show it to other countries. But that's the business model. So once the buyers are convinced by the user community they should buy this information, then it's a winning business case.
And perhaps it's important to mention that the use cases have been developed with the buyers and the users, so they are representative of their actual and genuine needs. So if the solutions are successful after the testing and validation in the sites, then there will be more possibilities and willingness from the buyers to purchase the solutions later on. So, yeah. Yeah, there are 12 buyers. I forgot to mention the 12 buyer that I was forgetting is the region of Central Macedonia. So we have water authorities. We have also authorities, ministries, municipalities. Yeah, yes, and first responders. Mm-hmm. We have other questions from the audience. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I'm Giovanni Martucci from Stadion Group. Connecting to last question, I was wondering whether, as part of the evaluation to be onboarded, let's say potential partners and value proposition proposers need also to address the, let's say, price model or business model for your evaluation, given the fact that in the long term this is going to be a pre-commercial project, I guess.
Yes, indeed. One of the criteria to be evaluated is actually the commercialization plans and exploitation plans. So it's part of the weighted award criteria.
If you have a business model in place,
yeah.
you have a plus there for the ranking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other question in Slido about the TRL level. So PCP is focusing on the cycle of innovation between TRL 3 up to 8. So we want to bring the solutions up to TRL 8, so proven in the operational environment, the system in operational environment. What is the expected number of partners in a consortium? Okay, we want to have 5 contractors in phase 1, and the consortium could bring different partners based on the skills. So
yeah, it depends on how much disciplines you have in your company. If you're a large engineering company, you might have your ITC or your ICT in place, so the back office, front office, and maybe also you have your hydrology in place already, so you don't need a separate hydrology partner. Mostly you have specific remote sensing companies, and it's not in the big civil engineering companies, so you need to partner up with a value adder and with remote sensing. So I expect 4 to 5 would already be, if you have a multidisciplinary leader in your, and also a good solution architect inside your consortium, then you're ready with 4 or 5 partners. Yeah.
We have a question related to one of the questions you already made about the activities after the PCP-WISE, after the R&D phase, and indeed we expect that the public buyers purchase the resulting solutions, the outcomes of the PCP, when the solutions are exploited and brought to the market. Who are your expected end users, managers, specialists, etc.? What level of detail are you aiming for? That's for the buyers.
Yeah. So the users are mostly the water managers. So those are the hydrology groups inside governmental bodies. It could be statistical people, could be inspection people. It could also be analysis from all kind of processes for civil servants who need to do, for example, scenario building for the coming 20 years. So it could be policymakers as well. So I think there are more and more users once they see the power of the information in the end. So this is something that you cannot anticipate totally on front. So.
Thank you, Hans. I think, do we have any more questions in the audience? I don't see any more questions in the Slido, no? So I think we have to close now, but you're welcome to come and have a chat with us afterwards. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mona.